There were several occasions where I was about to ship phones to buyers, and at the last second, I realized this was a scam. I realized I wasn't going to come out winning. I realized that the buyer was trying to play me. And in this video, I'm going to give you guys the top 3 things that I look for in wholesale buyers that you need to make sure you're paying attention to, or you might be the victim of a scam. Yes, wholesale buyers can scam you as long as they come out on top. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Brandon Jones. I've been phone flipping for over a decade. And one thing I will tell you is wholesale buyers are one of the best ways for you to be able to sell phones fast, make money, and repeat. Now, if you don't know what flipping phones is, it is when you buy a phone, lower the market value, and then you sell it higher. Now, you can do this on Facebook, you can do it on OfferUp, and there's a bunch of people that claim to be teaching you and telling you all of the tactics, right? You have some people that say they make $2,000 a month or even a week. And then you have some that say they're making 10. But one thing is very clear. When you're dealing with a wholesale buyer, they give you a bunch of hurdles and obstacles to reach and get over. Now, some of you guys watching don't even have a buyer. If you don't, make sure you guys go ahead and click below and get my buyer's price list. It has 50 wholesale buyers on one list. It's $87 one time because I have to pay these buyers to be a part of this list, and you get updates for life, not for this week, next week. And guess what? It's not just new phones, it's used phones. It is iCloud locked phones, blacklisted phones, iPads, Apple Watches, PlayStations, Nintendo Switches, a whole bunch of different electronics that you actually can sell to these buyers. They bid for the devices that you're trying to sell, which guarantees you top money. Okay, top profits is our goal. Now, when it comes to these wholesale buyers, I've had a bunch of unique situations. When I first started out phone flipping, I didn't understand that there was a disadvantage for somebody that had one buyer, and I only had one. And I really couldn't fathom that this person would ever become untrustworthy until I started to sell phones and buy the bulk. Started selling a lot of phones, and it seemed like I was eating at that person's money or their change fund. And then they started changing on me. They started to tell me that the prices dropped, and they started to tell me the grade of the phone wasn't exactly what it was described as. And I started to lose money. And this is when I realized that I had to pivot. I had to make a change. And also I had to make sure that I had the leverage, because see, up until then, I didn't realize that I was the person that had the leverage, not the person with all the money. Now, again, if you are somebody that has just started, listen, you can sell to 2 types of people: consumers, wholesalers. Consumers, they're always going to buy the devices for the highest price, but they're going to buy the device at the slowest pace. Wholesale buyers buy the device at the fastest pace. They're only going to spend whatever they're willing to spend as far as market value. Now, one thing I will tell you is that the first mistake or the first red flag is a buyer that consistently tells you the prices today are messed up, or the prices dropped, or, oh, I can't believe these prices are this way. Now, this is a really big key for you to pay attention to. Now, it seems just like yesterday when I called my buyer, I'm like, yo, I got this, and this. And then he would go ahead and sigh and say, oh, man, I'm looking at my list, man. Prices, man, they keep going down, bro. I can do da-da-da-da. And I'm like, wait, you just did $50 more yesterday. And he would tell me that the prices drop on a consistent basis. Now, this is where you have to have multiple buyers, because see, what you end up doing, even if you don't have my price list, is you start comparing those buyer lists, and you don't just go ahead and sell to either one. You put them against each other. So what you could do is, let's say I'm a buyer, and let's say this person right here is a buyer. So this person says they'll buy the iPhone 13 for $200. I say I'll buy it for $265. Well, you tell this person, hey, I got somebody that's gonna buy it for $265. Can you do $270? And then they're not gonna believe you. So what you do is you just send them on the sheet just a picture of the line with the pricing. Do not send them the entire sheet. That lets them know who they're competing against. You don't do that. You don't want them to know who your buyer is, but you do want them to know that you have options. This will correct a wholesale buyer fast, quick, and in a hurry. Trust me, because I've done this several times, and there has been a difference between me getting a $20 profit and me getting a $60 to $100 profit at times. And you can do this by managing your leverage, not just in your asset, but also in your connections. Your connections when it comes to phone flipping is very important, and it's imperative to make sure that you have a network that you can depend on, rely on, and also communicate with and use against each other. So the next warning that I will say is the buyer that does not buy new phones, or they just choose not to put it on their price list. So we have a bunch of different ones like that. And I won't say their names because there's no need, but they're usually free price lists. And I'll tell you the little trick, right? There's a bunch of companies in the United States that are buyback companies. It's a difference between a wholesaler and a buyback company. A buyback company does not buy phones that are used because they have to actually put every phone they buy in documentation, and they have to provide the IRS at the end of the year with a statement letting them know all the things they brought back so they can pay their taxes and do all of their business documentation. Well, that's sort of kind of the issue. Now, phone flipping is completely legal, but it is something that you do not want to put on paper all of the time if you're a big corporation. So what these corporations do, they don't make money by just buying these new phones and buying these used phones and tablets. And no, what they do is they buy used phones and then they sell them to people like me, people that own stores or people that own warehouses or people that are in the electronic field, people that want to sell phones but can't source them. That's what the buyback company is for. So if you're selling to a price list that does not have any option to sell them new phones, you most likely are literally not using a wholesale buyer. You're using a buyback company. Now, here's the benefit though. Buyback companies do offer a little bit higher than wholesale companies. And yes, they do kind of do the same thing. You can ship them the phones and they usually will wire you the payment. The difference is that they're good to have on your side, but not good to just have on your side as the only option, because they restrict the amount of things you can buy. Like what my prices below, you can buy used phones, new phones, locked phones, iCloud locked phones, iCloud locked iPads, iCloud locked or locked Apple Watches, literally anything. PS5s, you can literally sell a bunch of different things. And this is where the benefit comes. You have to make sure that you're utilizing your network because they're going to make you more money and also make you more flexible so you can make the most of your profit. Okay, so last but not least, and this is something I actually had to deal with recently, and I deal with this with a bunch of buyers. That's why I choose to have multiple. And to communicate, we either use email or WhatsApp. And I'll go more in depth in communication with wholesale buyers and more in another video. You will always run into buyers that change, fluctuate, and also just make upgrading, okay? Now, if you don't know, with used phones, you have a bunch of grades. You have A+, you have A, you have B+, you have B, you have C, you have D. Some phone buyers, they have A+ or A+ only, and then some have A+, B+B, C, D, FOA. There's a bunch of different type of grading systems. You need to make sure you understand them. And then after you understand them, you got to make sure that you are in the same mind frame as the buyer. As some buyers may choose to say, well, I know you thought this was a B grade phone and you paid the B price, but this is actually a B+. And then you're like, well, I just spent $50 extra on this device because I thought it was a B+. Well, see, this is where the issue comes in. So buyers, they can't assess the phone until you're in front of them or the phone is. And they don't usually pay you out until they get the phone either. And if you tell them the wrong grade, or if they feel like it has a little scratch or maybe a nick that you didn't see, you lose money. Well, how is that fair? And also, that could be the difference between you actually making money and losing. I've lost thousands of dollars grading the device wrong in front of the buyer, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't grade it wrong. What ended up happening is the person saw that I came to them, they had the leverage, they told me it was a B instead of a B plus. And I'm like, well, how? And then they would literally pull out wipes and start scrubbing the screen and looking under a magnifying glass. And it used to be very irritating, but now what I do is I always buy it at a B grade, and then I will say it's a B plus, or, I would always downgrade the grade that I brought the device at just in case, because I don't want to come out on a losing end. It got so bad at one point where I actually had to argue with a buyer because it was several phones in one meeting, in one sitting, that I was taking a hit on, and I could not take that hit. And I ended up learning from that always to go a little down. Always to, if you think you're buying a B plus phone, make sure that you're getting it with the intentions that they're going to pay you for B. This is a very important lesson I had to learn, and it's something that you will be able to use and utilize to keep you in the green instead of going in the red. Well, guys, those are going to be the top 3 things that I would say you want to look for when you are selling to a wholesale buyer, as they will try to finesse you. Now, if you want to avoid all of this and you want to try and make sure that you're getting the most out of every device, go get the price list. When you get the price list, you're put in a community. This community isn't going to be a community where you're going to be talking about the phones you're selling and you're going to be able to buy the phones from other people. No, it's a community literally where you're linked to me, and when you have a device, you will DM me and we'll work with getting you a buyer. Not only that, I'm there in your pocket to make sure you're getting the most from these buyers instead of having them try and finesse you. So we work together. I teach you how to do this by yourself so you don't need me anymore. And then you go about your way and you go and continue to be successful. It's about having a companion and building a network, and I help you do this. So again, the price list is linked below. You guys can go and always find free price lists as well out there. They are available. There are some buyers on Facebook, but again, you want to make sure that you are making it a priority to inspect what you expect, and also understand that buyers will always try to assess your intelligence when it comes to phone flipping, as for them, it could be the difference in a $40 profit and a $100 one. And you can't blame them, right? We just have to make sure we play it smart so we're not caught tripping like a transmission. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys go ahead and like this video. And again, if you guys don't know, I am doing a live today, 6 p.m. and I will be talking and preaching and telling who is the winner. But I am going to be talking about phone flipping. I'm going to be talking about reselling. I am going to be talking about that, but I will also be talking and telling you guys who is the winner of the drawing for the commenting for the pods. Okay, so make sure you guys go ahead and tap into that live. And if you missed it, make sure you go ahead and rewatch it. Today is the 24th. So make sure you guys are watching that live to see if you got the free pods. Now, if you didn't get the free pods and you're watching this, comment below anything right now. Make sure you have your bell turned on and you're subscribed. Your bell has to be turned on and you have to subscribe, and you're going to be entered into the next drawing on December 20th, the week of December 20th, not December 20th, the week of December 20th, because you got to make sure you have the bell on. I will go live. You're going to get a notification. It's literally going to say drawing announcement, and you're going to be able to see if you won the drawing for the AirPod Max clones. And if you won, I'm shipping it to you free. Everything is free. You don't have to pay for shipping, nothing. It's coming directly from my website, wesply.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.